Hello, I want to talk to you about our little dog Sandy. We don't rescue dogs here at Georgia. We specialise in equines, and I believe very strongly that the best you can do for animals is to specialise in one particular species where you can gather and draw the best of the expertise available to deal with that particular species. Of course, if you have a lot of equines, if you're not careful, dogs will form a pack and they can be quite dangerous. Remember that however wonderful Belgian dogs are, that's the natural dog, the country dog in Morocco, that they are only one generation from the wild and they will form a pack, and you have to be very careful if you keep the two together. Some people manage it very successfully, but we have so many equines here. The whole of our land is covered with equines. So the only dogs we have are those that have been brought to us or ended up here and are really our pet dogs who we work with very closely to make sure that the equines are safe. I've never sought to have any of these dogs adopted, either in Morocco or abroad, for this reason. Because whilst there are more organisations saving dogs than there are equines, I admire them hugely, and I don't want to take away from them in any way their ability to seek adoption for their dogs abroad. Their need is far greater than mine is here, and I really don't want to interfere with any of the work we're doing. But when this little puppy arrived about a year ago, and maybe not quite a year ago, because if I remember rightly, the women from the village were picking the olives, and I think one of them brought the little pup over and left it on the land. She was tiny and she was quite timid and found it difficult to stand up to my other dogs, but of course she was welcomed. And then we were visited by somebody who wanted to adopt her and take her to Belgium. And of course, we thought that was a really good idea and we were very grateful. And we kept in touch with that family over the next few months. We did everything we possibly could to make that adoption successful. And I want to take a moment to thank our vet who made every effort to prepare the papers that would be accepted in Belgium. She had the relevant blood tests, the relevant authorization was sought from Belgium. We had her spayed and she was in absolutely perfect condition when it was time for her to go. She was ready to go. She had her new clothes. She had a lovely orange outfit with collar and harness and lead, and she had rugs to go with. And she was very well known locally. She lived here at Georgia. Of course she did. This was her home. But dogs are territorial. And she came from the village and she would on occasions wander back to the village. And it was quite hard for us to stop that happening because we're a very open environment here. But everybody in the village knew her. And of course, because it was part of her territory, she was never at risk, save for maybe crossing the road. But these dogs are pretty streetwise. So when the first time she wore her new orange collar with her new tag on that had the telephone number in Belgium, she wandered over to the village and someone saw her, picked up the number and phoned Belgium immediately, who put them in touch with us, and we went and picked her up immediately. But she was never at risk and everyone knew that she was a Georgia pup. We loved her dearly. She was very sweet, very kind. She used to sleep in my office at night and she would play with the other pups. And it was a Friday morning when we said goodbye to her. The person who was taking her to Belgium thought it would be a good idea, and we agreed that he had her the day and the night before. And I thought that was an excellent idea because I believed she would be safe and not at risk of wandering to the village and us having to look for her in the middle of the night. And off she went and we kissed her goodbye. We were so sad to see her go. She was going to her new life. and within hours she was missing. I don't know what happened, I never will, but I'm now convinced she has gone for good. And I'm sure the people who were adopting her in Belgium will be as heartbroken as we are. Why I think there's very little hope now is that immediately we put out the feelers and the alarms. We're well known in the area, both here and around Takakust. Every hotel around Takakust was alerted. They were given our phone number. People were out searching and people in Takakust searched. And of course, we kept a very strong eye on the village in case she wandered home. But there was never, ever one sighting. Now, it may have been she escaped from the garden she was in, and she had this lovely orange collar on and she was in good condition, and someone may have stolen her. I find that unusual difficult to accept, because it was dark and it was very close to the lake, and I don't think there was much passing traffic because we were at the start of Ramadan. So we will never really know what's happened. But as ever, it strengthens my resolve. No dog will ever leave Georgia again. We don't rescue dogs, and any dogs we have here, we will be able to cope with within our resources. I regret ever having handed her over. I will regret that to my dying day. I should have got up in the early hours of the morning and taken her down in my car to the airport and seen her safely on the aeroplane, because I know she was going to be met by wonderful people in Belgium. And when things like this happen to me, it just makes me tougher. So I'm sorry, folks, you're going to have to put up with an even tougher person than I was before. The work goes on here, and I continue to keep in touch with all of you. And the one thing that has happened since Sandy disappearing, and I want to thank everybody who was part of the search for her. I've had a lot of inquiries from people who now knew me before I came to Morocco and are quite interested in the life I had before I came to Morocco and the life we have now and how they're intertwined. So looking forward over the next year, if any of you would like to know more about my historical story and how that led to looking after donkeys, I'm more than happy to share it, and I think we're going to do that on YouTube. So if you are interested, let me know. I can do less physical work now than I used to, but I have this amazing team around me, and I think for this next year or two, I have to concentrate on spreading the word, and spreading the word in the way we always have done, that we're honest and truthful, and tell people about the work we do, why we do it, and the interaction between the history of donkeys, what is happening to donkeys now, and what is happening in Morocco. It is a conceptual examination going forward, and I hope you appreciate that. Thank you for your good wishes over Sandy, and I'm sorry that I can't bring you better news at this point of time. So bye for now.